Hi, everybody, and welcome from me, Brent Graham. It's 9 o'clock on a Thursday night, and you're live with the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Looking forward to talking rugby. We've got off to a cracking start, I must tell you, in the New Zealand competition. It's been top class. The boys on the panel have been in good form. We've been getting our newsletter bet right. If you read my Citizen article this week, you'll know I made a bit of a mistake last week. It was 1 o'clock Sunday morning. I was watching TV. I knew I had to get up for the early Sunday kickoff. And I made the mistake of seeing the points line move down overseas in the Crusaders match. So I took a nice unders play there, only to find out conditions. I don't know why the points lines moved down overseas. Conditions were good. And I ended up losing all the money there that I made on the handicap. But I know a lot of the other guys made money. So let's go around and introduce them now. And let's first get them all back on the screen. And I'm going to start off to my right, one half of a son of a punt, Jordan. Jordan, good to have you back on the show.
Evening, Brent. Evening, everyone. Yeah, great to be back.
Excellent, man. Tell me something. I know Andrew's been getting ready, making plans to go back to Barcelona. Are you heading back with him or at the same time? Or are you still in the country for a while?
Yeah, I'm not heading back on the same flight as him. He's heading back in a few days' time. I'm going to look to head back a week or two afterwards. Just academic and girlfriend requirements.
Okay, I know like in big companies, like they don't let like the managing directors fly on the same flight in case something happens to the plane. I thought maybe it was the same with son of a punt. I can tell you there's a few bookies who probably wouldn't mind you guys on the same plane. But anyway,
Yeah.
Let's go down then to a first-time guest here, but he's watched quite a few of the shows, and we talk with him all of the time on Twitter, and I'm good for the game. It's Neil, Thoughts on Sports there on Twitter. Neil, good to have you on the show. You're looking forward to your debut.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. No, very pleased to be here, and yeah, welcome to the audience. I'm looking forward to discussing my bets for the weekend.
Yeah, well, I think it was on Twitter you made a tweet when I announced the show or asked you if you wanted to come on or something, and it sounded like a bit of confidence, and I was happy to see that. So I can tell you I'm not overly confident this week. I've really been battling. Even the Good for the Game forum, which has normally got quite a few rugby punts in the week, has really been quiet because guys are battling for value. So looking forward to what you got to say there. And the last guest, he needs no introduction. I can tell you he's probably had a couple of brandy and cokes already. And Hendrik Swart, you've had a nice bright tonight and you're ready to tip us a few winners. I see you reckon the bookies are going to feel the pain.
Hey, Brent. The first week was good. Last week wasn't so good. The Chiefs let me down. And then in the Crusaders Hurricanes game, the unders let me down, so it was too many points. I went fishing last week, so I didn't see the Saturday game, the Chiefs game. But apparently the Blues were full value, your Blues, so you're probably excited about your Blues and feeling confident on them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. The handicaps looks well set, but I still think there's money to be made.
Excellent. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight as well. I've got a video, a couple of minute video from Couch Critic, who's normally on the show, and he's going to, I'm going to play that at one point. I haven't tried that before. We'll see if it works. He'll give us his tips for the weekend as well. But let's first have a look just quickly at the outright markets. I mean, Jordan, there hasn't been a tremendous amount of change. The Crusaders, of course, were impressive last week. I've seen them short from 9 to 10 to around the 7 to 10 mark. And the Blues, of course, who were available pre-tournament at 6 to 1, have now come in all the way to 5 to 2. It's starting to look like a two-horse race. You look at it, the Highlanders have only lost one. Well, they haven't lost the game, but they've only played one. But they're into sort of 10 to 1. Can you see anyone outside the top two winning? And do you think there's any value in either of those sides, perhaps in taking the Crusaders even at 7 to 10, or is that price about right?
Well, personally, I think you're right. I think it's a two-horse race now, and I don't see value in taking the Crusaders at 7 to 10, just because there's a good chance that if you take them, for example, to win the final, they'll probably be close to. Actually, I suppose it's not a final. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, it's league, yeah.
It's a league. Okay, well then maybe, but still, I don't see value at 7 to 10. I mean, I like the Blues. It looks like the Blues are going to go 3 from 3 to start and then go into a well-deserved bye. So, I mean, I like the Blues. If they can get a bonus point win, I think they can set themselves up nicely for at least a push for the title. Obviously, those games against the Satyrs are going to be big, and I'm sure the Satyrs will pick up a lot of bonus point victories against the teams that seem to be struggling. And I think it's interesting that the Canes and the Chiefs, have done so badly considering how good we thought, well, at least the Chiefs were going to be pre-tournament. Obviously, the Chiefs are missing an entire pack. But I mean, I was just looking at it the other day, and Highlanders are now third favorites, are only third favorites now to finish last. And before the tournament, I was like, geez, Highlanders at 2.4 to finish last. That's an absolute gold mine. I didn't put money on it, luckily, but now they're at about 4.5. So I mean, it's crazy how quickly the tides have turned.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the beauty of New Zealand. I always say the beauty of New Zealand rugby. Of course, you get a dominant team like the Crusaders and some years the Chiefs, but more often than not, any team can beat any team in New Zealand, except probably you'd say for the Blues for a few years where they couldn't win a thing. But we haven't spoken to Neil about his long-term bets because he hasn't been on the show yet. So Neil, first of all, share with us what are your long-term involvements, if any, and do you see any value there in any of the long-term markets at this point?
Yeah, Brent, I was quite strong on Blues to win the tournament. Before it started at about 5-1, and I've actually loaded up a bit more at about 2.5-1. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I was pretty surprised that I saw the Crusaders shorten to about 0.65, seeing it was sort of a regulation game against the Cairns. So I was quite surprised that they shortened somewhat, and I still think the value does definitely lie with the Blues to win the tournament. Bear in mind that they've gone to Waikato and claimed quite an impressive away victory. So, yeah,
that's it. Look, I do like them. I was on them at 6-1, and I guess I'm getting to that point now where I'm thinking, geez, the run going to come to an end. So let's go over to Henrik now and see what his thoughts are long-term wise. Henrik, the Blues, they've been a bit of a surprise for you?
Yeah, Brent, I'm sure you were quite confident on them. I didn't expect them to be runners. I thought the Chiefs would keep the Crusaders a run for their money. My main long-term bet was the Hurricanes to finish last at 5-1, so I'm still holding on to that one. I think even at 9-10, the Hurricanes still to finish last, that's worth the bet. But yeah, the Blues currently at 26-10. I see with Sunbet, I think that's still worth the play. The Crusaders, for my liking, is way too short. I think the Crusaders, the pack is a bit light, so I think they're worth taking on.
Excellent. Well, Tom van Us coming in on the guest columns here, he's saying Sivu Reese, top try scorer. And I brought that comment up because, funny enough, I looked at that price earlier today as well. I think he's 5-1. I was super impressed with him last week. I think he scored in the first minute of that Crusaders game. But just the way he played and his energy and that, I think that's going to be a big runner. And certainly I wouldn't put anyone off the 5-1 there as well. But just to quickly welcome the guys in the live chat, we are going live out on Facebook. And, of course, I see a number of the boys on YouTube. Ruan Faree here, Brendan Vessels, aka the conductor. He's going to be joining us next week. He loves the Australian game. And so all of the boys in the live chat, thanks very much. We do have a competition for the live viewers. We'll run it in between the games. And that's going to be a GG Gaming voucher for those of you who do punt there. 500 Rand. We'll run through that. And the guests are more than welcome to enter on the live chat as well. But let's get into the game itself. And Neil, you're the debutant. I'm going to move straight in with you. We got the Blues up against the Highlanders. That's, of course, taking place in Auckland. I haven't seen if it's going to be a packed Auckland game, but I imagine it would be. And look, I capped this game at 11.5, and I see that's no. Did I cap this one? I capped this at 9.5, and that's where it kind of opened. But the handicap appears to have shifted out now. I see 10.5, even 11.5 in places. Have you done anything here? And if not, what are your movements?
Yeah, thanks, Brent. I generally have a rule of thumb whenever I get a double-digit cap on a New Zealand derby, I usually jump on the plus. But this week's actually a bit different. I'm looking for my main players in the points lines. I had quite a big strike on Blues to win an under 52.5. I was quite surprised for some points lines to come out on Monday. So that's my main interest this week is the Blues to win an under 52.5 at 14-10.
Where did you get that on Monday? That's quite interesting that they came out so early with the points.
It was at Betway.
At Betway, okay. Well, that's interesting. I must keep an eye on that for a Monday as well, because I've never understood why the bookies don't come out a bit earlier, but I have seen the line now down at about 46.5, so there's quite a big difference there. Let's go to Jordan and get his opinion on this one.
All credit to Neil there. That was a great shot. He actually mentioned to us earlier in the week, and that firstly credit to the bookies as well for coming out with the points lines. I think it was Betterlimp that led the charge, and then it came out at Betway and BetExchange and a few others. And I didn't follow the exact same bet. I actually took Highlanders under 21.5 points. However, obviously for Andy and I to tweet it, we kind of need to both agree on it, and we were still kind of like waiting, umming and ahhing about whether we're going to tweet it or not. And then literally 4 or 5 hours ago, they actually suspended those markets. So well done to Neil for getting on that one. I think it's a great bet. But yeah, I think. Sorry, and before I continue, Andy just wants me to send a message. He just wants you guys, everyone here on the show, to know that his granny has got his pension back, and with interest. So she'll be okay from last week's Blues under 30.5 first half points in that game.
Yeah, that was a superb spot. I mean, I'm amazed that market lasted as long as it did, because I still said to you guys on the show, if that market's still there in the morning, I'm definitely putting it in the newsletter. And I went on, and it was shortened from 0.76 to 0.74, which is barely a shortening at all. And I mean, definitely put that in. And of course, you guys were first on the Crusaders minus as well. We caught that in the newsletter bet as well. Just interesting, Emil, who once won a 25,000 Rand betting voucher at GG Gaming, he is saying Landers could keep this result within the handicap. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the handicap's found its line now. I think you're going to see it probably stabilize there. Henrik, let's go to you on this game. What are your thoughts?
Now, Brent, I also took the under 52.5 on Monday. Blues to win and under 52.5. I took the bet at player bet, so there was quite a few bookmakers that came out with the points on Monday. I actually took some under 52.5, just the points yesterday afternoon with super bets still. So the points was available. I think on Tuesday, Bet Exchange, they shortened it to 48.5. I think that 52.5 is a solid bet. I'll still take it under 48.5 or under 49.5 as well still, because there will be a bit of rain in Auckland. And with Mitch Hunt starting at 10 for the Highlanders, I think he's good for unders. He's not an attacking fly-off, he's more a kicking fly-off. And I don't think he gets the line away that good. The Blues, they've been impressive. So looking at the handicap, I think the Blues on the minus is the way to go, yeah. And we'll get to the other game just now. But I fancy the second game more early in the week. But as the week has progressed, this one has grown on me, and I actually like the Blues minus more than I like the other games handicap.
Excellent. So we got your opinion there on the Blues. Let's go over to Neil. Anything more to add on this one?
Yes, thanks, Brent. As Justin Roberts would say, I have done my due diligence for the game, yes. and the unders has arrived in 6 of the last 7 Blues games. So I think that's quite a strong runner, especially with Paul Williams on the whistle. He's as Henrik will say, he's a big unders ref. And there's lots of rain this week in Auckland, and thunder showers up until 5 o'clock in the evening in Auckland. So yeah, I think the unders is a big player. I would even still grab the line at 47.5.
Excuse me, sorry, I would say I'm choking on my sherry, but I'm actually choking on the water that I just drank now. But I was going to ask you that question then, Neil, because yes, the unders definitely 52.5. You guys got on the value there, absolutely no doubt about it. So even at 46, 47, if you had to still get involved, you'd go unders.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely lots of value there. And also look for play on unders tries, because there are a lot of 3-pointers being knocked over. So if I could get 5.5, 6.5 tries, yeah, I'd be very interested in that.
Excellent. Jordan, anything more from your side on this one?
So 2 things. I think obviously now that the points have gone down, it'll be interesting to see what they have for a Blues first half over points. Because as Neil said, sticks have been taken quite often. So and Blues of Aotearoa Blacks kicking's been good, and obviously they've been dominant at set piece and on the ground. So I think them to tick over the scoreboard could be interesting, particularly on a slightly lower first half points, for example, over 12.5 first half points. And then Neil was going on the under tries. We're thinking on the Blues try handicap. We do feel that this is a game that the Blues could target for a bonus point win, regardless of the conditions. I think, that 3 try deficit is something that is achievable for the Blues. And I think, it will really, they know they've got a bye coming up, and they're going to give it their all in this game. They're going to empty the tank. And I mean, I can see them, if they are 2 tries up, I can see them, going for the corner at the end. They're trying to get that third. So we'll look at a Blues try handicap. Hopefully it's something like minus 1.5 tries. Personally, I don't see the Highlanders getting over the whitewash with anyone but Ash Dixon or Liam Coltman. However, the Blues have a very, very solid set piece, so I don't see them mauling the Blues back either. So I really can't see the Highlanders scoring. I just can't see it in my head. It doesn't happen for me. So yeah, I mean, either that a lower Blues over points or a Blues try handicap. As I said, I'm already on the Highlanders under 21 points, so it's just something we're gonna have to kind of watch and see potentially in play on a nice advantageous attacking position or something.
Excellent. Well, we've had a bigger demand, a big disappointment from some of our female viewers that we weren't going to have Couch Critic on the show tonight because we know he's got a very big female following. So we're going to try something different before we move on to the next game. And he sent us a video with his thoughts for the week. So let's see if this works.
Hi, Brent and the Handicap lads. Just finished my show with User the Loser with the New Zealand boys. And yeah, pretty much as expected from them. They've got the two home teams to do it rather comfortably this weekend. I don't think that's too much of a surprise. But interestingly enough, I think from their predictions, it's like the bookies have got it pretty much right. So I think it's just over about 10 points for both teams there. And then in terms of my plays, I think the big one is more of an interest in the Blues and the Highlanders. Apparently quite a bit of wet weather expected for that one. The Blues obviously have had a little bit of a practice run in those conditions, so they should have the advantage. Even though I must say that the Highlanders' style of play to me just suits that kind of game. They've got probably one of the better lineouts in the competition and one of the best driving mauls. So don't expect the Highlanders to just go belly up, and that's where my play comes from. Is I think the Blues will have to break them down over some time there and hopefully pull away in the second half a little bit. So again, I'm going for that second half handicap play on the Blues. I just can't go away from that back row combination of Akira Ioane, Hoskins Situto, and Papa Ali. I think they're pretty good and they'll get the job done for the home side. And I was obviously heavily impressed by the Blues last week. So I think they've got things down. And yeah, as I said, I think the Islanders will put up a decent fight for the first half and then probably the home team to pull away in the second. So second half handicap to look out for, they're probably around 5 points. Try scorers Akira Ioane. I know he doesn't get quite as much ball playing at 6 rather than 8, but I expect him to be even more influential after his first outing. So Akira Ioane to score the first try, and then the judge's favorite player there returning on the bench, Joe Marchant. I'm looking for him to come off the bench, play in the outside backs, and get the last try. So those are my plays for that one. Less confident on the Crusaders game. Again, also wet weather expected. So yeah, it's a tough one for both teams or both games. Looking at the unders and especially unders on the two away teams that could be profitable.
Sorry, guys, I stopped the video a little bit short. I don't know what happened. I suddenly started hearing a double. I don't know if I was the only one there, but Couch, perhaps you can just post. I know you are watching the show as well. Just post your bets in the comments. Perhaps the video, I think there might be a limit to how long it can run. But we're back on there. Couch, I didn't hear you mention Ash Dixon there, but I guess he doesn't expect the Highlanders to score many tries, so that's why I wouldn't be looking at him. But he can share his views on the next game as well. But let's move on to the next game. That's going to be on Sunday, of course. And Henrik, let's start with you this time. We've got the Crusaders here sitting at about minus 11.5 point favourites over a Chiefs team that really is racked by injuries.
Yeah, Brent, I watched your show with Gary last night. I actually only watched it this afternoon. But you guys talked about this handicap opening up at about 6.5, 7.5. Yeah, I missed out a bit on getting on early. So the best I could get was minus 9.5 Crusaders. And I also took some Crusaders by 14 plus at 1.74 to 1, which I think was a great price. The handicap at the moment, I think the best you can get is about 11.5. The Crusaders, they give away a lot of penalties, so that means if the other team goes for a point, they leak a lot of points. And I'm a bit concerned about the pack, but the Chiefs pack is not that flashy either. I think the Crusaders have a clear advantage in the backs. Then much way superior in my opinion. And at the home ground advantage, I think that's about 7 points in Crusaders' favour. I think the Crusaders should beat the handicap here. I was more bullish earlier in the week, and I became a bit concerned about my bet, but I thought about it a bit more. I like the minus here. not as strong as its Blues, but I like the Crusaders to get the job done in Clash 6, so I'm on the minus here. And yeah, it will be interesting to see what the points line is, because it's an afternoon game, and there's a bit of rain, but I think that's more in the morning, and it's not a lot of rain, so it shouldn't be wet. I think this might be an overs game. So if we can get the points in mid 40s, higher 40s, anything less than 50 and a half, I'd be interested in overs and type of points here.
Excellent. Well, I must say, I'll think twice about going low on an afternoon game after what happened last week. And because I was certainly in trouble. And the way the Crusaders started, I mean, that try in the first minute was absolutely superb. So Henrik is on the minus there. But Neil, let's go to you now. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Brent, I think the handicap is very well priced at the moment. It's a bit of a coin flip for me which way I go on that. If I had to lean, I'd actually sort of oppose quite a few people and just go on the Chiefs plus, the best plus I could get. I think you can get about 12.5 with Hollywood at the moment, but also wouldn't be running to get there. I think my main player will be on the points. And just alluding to the points, I see that it's James Dolman with the whistle, and he's only refed one game in Super Rugby so far, and that was the Lions against the Rebels, and I think the points lines was about 51.5. And yeah, the overs arrived, or 50.5, and I think the overs arrived in that. And especially with an afternoon kickoff, I'm definitely looking at an overs play, as Henrik pointed out. And yeah, the overs has arrived in 12 of the last 16 Chiefs away games, so that also makes me quite a bit more confident. So I'll probably take anything overs on about 51, 52.5.
Right, it'll be interesting to see that line. Yeah, I quickly went and had a look, and I saw there was nothing out yet on that one. Just quickly to run through a competition for the guys on the live chat. A 500 Rand GG Gaming free bet. You got to pick the winner, the margin, and total points in the Blues v Highlanders. So there's my example: Blues by 10 points and 51 points in total. So the first thing you got to do is you got to hit the winner. So that will get you to the second leg, which is of course the margin. And if that's tied between two people, then we'll move to the total points. And if that's still tied, then we'll split the voucher. The usual things with GG, you do have to be a client of theirs and punting, but irrespective, have a go at it and see how you do on that one. I'll leave that up there for a little while, and then we'll go to Jordan to get his opinion on the Crusaders game.
Yeah, look, I think not that I was awake for it, but I watched the highlights. Seeing that first minute beautiful set piece try by the Crusaders, where the ball was going through all the forwards' hands at sublime speed, just showed that the Crusaders weren't chilling during lockdown. They were working hard. And although they give away a lot of penalties, I watched Couch's show this morning, and with Paul from the Rolling Mall and Cornflake, and what they were saying kind of rang true to me. The Crusaders have always given away a lot of penalties. They say, okay, kick for poles, but you're not going to score against us, because they back themselves to score tries against the opposition. So I like Couch's bet there of Chiefs under tries. I must say, Chiefs have been the one team, not that all the teams have been going for poles, but Chiefs have been the one team that really love to go and point at the sticks and take them, because I think they've got a poor set piece. With that second string forward pack, they won't be winning any lineouts. They're going to be struggling on their scrum. So, I can see them maybe kicking over some penalties. I don't see them scoring too many tries. If I can get under 1.5 tries, or a gift 2.5 tries, but I doubt it. I'll be on the unders there. What Henrik mentioned with the early minus 6.5 during the week, I managed to get on some of that. Around minus 11 now. It's tough, but I think obviously Chiefs have lost Brad Weber now to concussion. Although he hasn't been playing well, he's still an instrumental player in their team. They've also lost Luke Jacobson, and it's a big question as to whether Sam Cane's going to be back or not. So it's not going well at the moment, and I think the pressure's falling onto Cruden's shoulders, it's falling onto D-Mac's shoulders, it's falling onto all these guys, Anton Leonard-Brown. It's not looking good on them. They're playing some pretty poor rugby. And they're trying a bit too much, and it's just not looking great for the Chiefs. I like Neil and Henrik's call on overs, especially if it's in the 40s. That'll be delicious. But we'll be looking at Chiefs under tries, because I think they'll be looking to tick over that scoreboard with penalties, which will hopefully hold me in good stead for my Damian McKenzie long-term top point scorer bet. But considering how bad the Chiefs have been, I think a hedge out on Mo'unga is probably the play.
Right, interesting. I see one of our Facebook viewers coming here, Jason Deerdekind, and he's our horse racing expert. We'll be talking to us about the July shortly. Chiefs will have a go, ? Have you watched any games this far? Jason, I don't know if you've watched the Chiefs, but they have battled. But who was it who said Chiefs will have a go? I'm not too sure. You could just point out what you're talking about there. But I must say, I reckon the Crusaders on the minus. We're going to get points probably from both sides. If there is a points line in the 40s, I think I'll be on it. But I must say, this is a weekend. You can probably pick up by the way that I'm speaking, guys. I'm not overly confident of anything, and I was kind of hoping you guys, and I sense a bit of confidence there. But with the moment you're talking a double-figure handicap for New Zealand derby, you just worry about it a little bit getting on. I think if I've got to choose between the two, though, I would take the Crusaders on the minus. Henrik, what's lining up as your best bet of the weekend?
Brent, before I get to my best bet, if you're not confident, don't bet on any of the two games. Load up some more on the Blues. The more I think about it, at 26-10 about the Blues to win the title, that's some great value. So take some more of that. I think best bet of the weekend on the two handicaps. I like the Blues on the minus, but the unders in the Blues game, I think that's the best one. If you can get anything 47.5 or more on total points, take the unders on that one. That's the best bet of the weekend.
Right, and I see Jason just explaining, the Chiefs, he says, have to have a go having lost two. And that's a good point. I mean, often as teams start losing games, then they do start throwing caution to the wind and having a go. Just quickly, Jordan, to bring you in there. I mean, D-Mac, every time he lines one up for post, you guys must be pretty happy. What did you get, 5-1 that he was going to be the top point scorer at one point?
Yeah, I think we got 5.5-1 actually. But obviously, but at the moment, it actually feels like it's, we're holding on to it for dear life. But he is top of the table, and we just got to hope that, and I never wish injuries on anyone, but maybe Mo'unga or Tera Black get rotated or something, during a rest week. And D-Mac somehow scores a try and kicks 5 penalties, and Chiefs only get 20 points. 1 try, 5 penalties, we'll take that. And as long as Crusaders cover that -6. But it's a conflicting one.
That's it. Your best bet then for the weekend?
It's tough. I mean, I would love to say go back on Monday, take Crusaders -6. I'd love to say follow Neil earlier and take the Blues in under 52. Unfortunately, it's not available. So I'd say from what's available right now, I actually like what Couch posted on his preview, where he took some alternative lines. So he took Blues -5.5 and Crusaders -5.5, something along those lines, at about 1.85. So even money, basically. So I really like that as a double. I can see both of those teams winning by at least 6 each. So it kind of gives them the buffer to have a bit of an off day, or if the weather plays its part. So I really like that as a bit of an alternative option. At the moment, 46 is low. I mean, it probably should come home, but I struggle to say it with confidence. I would have preferred to say it at 52. So I like that option at the moment.
It's interesting you mentioned that, and I haven't read Couch's preview yet. Don't take any offense, Couch. I've had a busy day at work, but I haven't read. And I was trying to think now while we've been doing the show, what is shaping up as the best bet to put in the mailer that goes out tomorrow morning. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do go down below the show and you can subscribe there. We send out a bet every Friday morning, a little bit of links to some of our previews. But I was exactly thinking what you said. And in fact, I was opening one of the bookmaker sites now to see what the double would work out to, the 2 5.5s. And it's unbelievable that Couch is thinking along those lines. But that's exactly the way I'm viewing that. I can't see either team losing. And I could quite simply see both teams beating the handicap. But I'm just wary of 11.5 levels. And I think the double there, if you can get around even money, the double, 9 to 10, even money, the double, I much prefer that in this particular case to a big straight handicap bet. But Neil's been quiet for a while. Let's see what his best bet is for the weekend.
Yeah, Brent, definitely strong on the points lines. I think the handicaps are very well priced. And if I had to dabble in a handicap, I think Son of a Pun pointed out, I would go for a -4.5 Blues second half cap. I don't think that they have to score too many, but I think their defense is real rock solid. So, yeah, that should also land.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always been a guy. I've never really had a great record with halftime handicaps. Like I don't know what it is. I can't catch them, but I quite enjoy the second half handicaps where you try to look at the bench and try and picture what the game's going to look like at that point. So that's a nice one as well. I like that second half cap. And then, guys, anything else on the weekend? And perhaps I'm going to just pop around to each of you just to say cheers. But have you had a look? Because of course next week we've got Australian derbies. Now, they don't excite you the way New Zealand derbies do. There's no doubt about that. But have you had a look at the Australian betting yet? And Henrik, let me start with you. Anything there in the Australian, maybe from an outright perspective or something that you've seen?
Brent, I haven't actually had a look. So let me just quickly check the outright. Okay, so yeah, Brumbies favourites at 12-10. Wow, that's short. The Rebels, maybe a bit of value. I think the Reds might actually... at 4-1, the Reds might offer a bit of value, but I haven't had any look at it. It'd be interesting to see what the games come out as. Normally I like having a go in the first week or two. In my opinion, there's value then because the bookmakers, they're on the same level than you. They don't know much, but and I would love to have a look at the teams. But I haven't had a look at this yet, so that's my view.
Just loving this comment of yours. Brent never reads Heinz previews. Now I must tell you, I read a preview of Heinz on the NRL, and actually it got me hooked on the NRL to the point that I was ready to place a bet. I need to find out that it wasn't covered on SuperSport. Now I know you can stream it here and there, but he really did get me involved, and I was on a little bit of Ash Dixon with him a few weeks ago. So Couch, keep him rolling, old boy. Right, let's go across to Neil and see if you got anything on the Australian conference for us next week.
Yeah, Brent, I went shopping around this week for a bit of Aussie prices. I did see Brumbies to win the conference at 15-10. I think there is a little bit of value. It is quite short, but I think that should land. But I've got a big runner here, and that's Reds to cover the cap in their opening game against the Tars. I found 3.5. I think that's an absolute gift. Reds were looking very, very strong before the COVID situation, and Curtly Beale was just shipped off to Racing 92. So the Tars won't have any experience there. And with Mac Mason at 10 for the Tars, I think this handicap's 10 points too short.
Excellent. Well, I see the Don commenting, and I'm bringing that comment up because I want to know if that's the same Don. I play with Don's dad poker. I want to know if there's any connection with the Don that I play poker with there. Brendan Vessel's records Jock. Well, I clicked the wrong one there, but Brendan Vessel's reckoned Jock Campbell couldn't score in a brothel. Conductor, looking forward to having you on next week for Australia. Guys, I think what we'll probably do with the Australian next week is even split the show a bit. So if you guys want to focus on New Zealand rugby, focus. And then I've got one guy from Australia who wants to come on the show as well. So we'll probably split things up a bit halfway through and get some guys to talk about the Aussie game. But I must say, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to lift myself to the point that I do on the New Zealand game. Have I got all of your best bets then for the weekend so far? I think I have. Anything, though, from you, Jordan, on the Aussie conference?
Well, also just having a bit of a Uganda there, and I was looking at the Western Force team, and I must say that looks like a team that's made up of club rugby players. The only name I recognize is Marcel Brachy. And I mean, with all due respect to the man, being a South African, he's not the greatest rugby player in my opinion. But honestly, like that Force team, I honestly did not recognize one guy's name. And I mean, Force to come last in the tournament is at about 16-10. And it just seems juicy. Although that Force team went and won, I don't know what the equivalent is, but it seems like the equivalent of like a Curry Cup-ish type thing in Australia. But I mean, it doesn't look like they were playing against, top level players. So I mean, it's something I'm very interested in. I might even try and wait 1 week, see the Waratahs get smashed by the Reds, as Neil's mentioned, and then get on the Force to come bottom at slightly higher, at 2 or 2.2 to 1 as the Waratahs go low, because I think Waratahs versus the Force will be the basement game in that tournament. I mean, I'm going to try my best not to watch any of it, because nothing worse than watching a boring Australian derby. But
with the commentators going wild as if it's the most exciting game they've ever watched.
Yeah, just on your notes actually about Couch. So I looked at Couch, one of Couch's NRL previews, like during lockdown when NRL was one of the first sports out, and I decided, okay, I'm going to follow him on one of his bets. So I placed the bet, and obviously I also didn't watch on Super Sports. So now I'm watching this game on Bet365, and I don't actually know how NRL works. I kind of know like each team has a few attacks or whatever, but like often they obviously kick the ball so much, so the ball's changing hands. But I didn't know this, so every single time the team gains like 70 meters and is camping on the other team's try line, and then they obviously like put in a kick and the markets freeze, and then the markets come open again and the ball's turned over. But I think for the first game, I think I lost 3 years of my life just watching the screen switch around so many times because I didn't know how NRL actually worked. So after that, I went and watched how NRL actually worked and decided not to watch on Bet365 anymore because it was actually giving me heart attacks.
Yeah, watching the in-running betting and those fluctuations and that is absolutely crazy. I just got to make a point about Marcel Brachy. I mean, I think he's turned out to be quite a good player, but when he started off, I didn't rate him, and my mate Brendan O'Connell didn't rate him as well. I'll never forget one day, I think it was on Twitter, I had an absolute go at this guy. I said, this oak's the worst guy to ever play on the wing. He's an absolute disgrace. What did he score? I think 3 or 4 tries that day. It's typical. It's like, that just shut me up. But yeah, he certainly is an improved player. But guys, I think that's it. Just the 2 games to talk about today. So a shorter show. I'm sure next week we're going to be in for quite a long one. But good to see all of you guys again. Neil, thanks for making your debut. We're definitely going to have you on the show again on a regular basis. You're going to be doing any writing for GG there, or are you costing them too much money?
Yeah, Brent, I think I'll probably start up with that again once the Oz competition kicks off. Yeah, I can't write on only 2 games a week, so I need a bit of literature. Yeah, so we'll probably give it a week or 2 and then get in contact with Gary.
Excellent. Jordan, thanks very much, man. I know Andy's off to Spain and you following on shortly, but we'll see you on the show again soon and on Twitter and all the rest of the forums.
Thanks for having me, Brent. Appreciate it.
Excellent. And Henrik, going back to probably have a little bit of dessert and maybe another brandy before bed.
Yeah, Brent, definitely. I'll have a few brandies before. The fire's still going. Yeah, good luck to the guys, and I hope the bookies feel some pain this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to. So look out for our newsletter that will come out tomorrow morning. Thanks to all the guys in the live chat. It was great having you along. We'll see who wins those GG Gaming vouchers. And yeah, everyone enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you next week. Couch will be out with his show, Use It or Lose It. And of course, we'll have the GG Gaming show on Wednesday night. We'll be focusing on a bit of golf and rugby, and this show back on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.